to write quotes on the board for us every day. They're supposed to inspire us to be the people we wanted to be. She wrote one quote that has stuck with me for the last 6 years. It was a quote by Jim Rohn. The quote said, "The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, be kind but not weak, be bold but not a bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, have humor but without folly." This quote had such a big impact on me at the time because I knew my big sister would be going to college in just a couple of years, and that meant that I would be the leader and the example for my younger siblings for a whole 6 years. I had to decide what kind of a leader I was going to be for them, and this quote gave me a lot to think about. Even though I've spent the last 5 years as the oldest sister in the house, and leadership has become an even bigger part of my life because not only am I a big sister, I'm also a leader at the youth group, the children's group at my church, and a leader for girls in my dance group. Every day I strive to find a good balance between being a firm leader who people look up to and one people like and want to follow. I believe that we're all leaders in some sort of capacity, and it's our jobs to figure out what kind of leaders we want to be. So this is my question. What personality traits make a person a good leader, and what leadership positions require different characteristics? Tonight I will be talking to you about different leaders and what characteristics were required of them in order for them to be successful. During the early stages of my research, Mr. Chimpson, our history teacher, assigned a reading excerpt of The Prince by Machiavelli. Machiavelli wrote The Prince to help analyze the best ways to be a leader in a nation. In chapter 17, which is titled of Cruelty and Clemency and whether it is better to be loved or feared, Machiavelli said, "For love is held by the tie of obligation, which because men are a sorry breed, is broken on every whisper of private interest. But fear is bound by the apprehension of punishment, which never relaxes its grip." According to Machiavelli, a great leader must strive not to be hated, but must also strive not to be hated by his subjects, but must also be feared, because fear is what drives the subjects to follow the leader in a nation. According to Machiavelli, loyalty and love only last so long and can disappear at any moment's notice. I knew that this wasn't the kind of leader I wanted to be. I didn't want to scare people into following me, and I knew I wasn't scary enough to do that. So I started my research into other leaders. I decided to start by looking into a national leader, Abraham Lincoln. He's one of the greatest leaders of our nations, and many people respected him and looked up to him for his many great characteristics. Some of the characteristics that made Lincoln admirable were his openness to other points of view, his ability to stand strong in his beliefs, and his ability to communicate. Lincoln was open to many points of view. He created an environment where his cabinet was able to share their opinions without being ridiculed for them, and he would take them into consideration. Even though he listened to others, he was also able to stand firm in his beliefs. When it looked like the North was about to lose the war, he didn't compromise on his abolishment of slavery. He decided to stand strong in what he believed to be true. He was also a very effective communicator. He was able to inspire people through his words alone. In his second inaugural speech, he communicated his desire for unity in our nation and was able to communicate that effectively to all who listened to him. All of these characteristics made Lincoln a strong leader who people wanted to follow. When I started looking into how I could incorporate President Lincoln's characteristics into my own leadership, I thought about my siblings and how I need to be open to their opinions. More often than not, I get caught up in being the oldest and thinking that I'm always right and I know what's best. While I learned that I needed to be more open, I also learned that there are other factors into making a great leader. Next, I looked into religious leaders. One religious leader many of us think about is Mother Teresa. She's one of the most selfless, courageous, and faithful leaders our world has known. She left home when she was only 18 years old in order to serve the people in need in India. She didn't just serve the poorest of the poor, though. She served those who others were afraid to serve. She helped care for people with HIV, tuberculosis, and leprosy. She was willing to risk her own health in order to help others. Mother Teresa did all of this because of her passion for serving and her faith in God. She was inspired and compelled to serve the people of India because of her deep faith in Christ. She felt that was where she was called. And when she won the Nobel Peace Prize, she said, "I am unworthy. I accepted this prize in the name of the poor. The prize is the reorganization of the poor world. By serving the poor, I am serving him." Mother Teresa's immense love for others is what drew people into following her. Mother Teresa is an almost perfect example of a servant leader. Her heart was set on God, and that's what drove her to serve others. I want to set my heart in that way in order to serve my community. I strive to set my heart on serving children of my community by teaching them simple Bible stories once a week. I want my heart to be in the right place and my faith to push me to be a better leader. Leaders in the business world are some of the most influential leaders in our day and age. Take Bill Gates, for example. He's one of the most influential leaders today. Some great qualities that Gates has are being an amazing leader, that make him an amazing leader, our never-ending search for self-improvement, his continuous drive to pursue his dreams and visions, and his compassion towards others. According to an article in Forbes, Gates continually tries to improve his public speaking skills and communication abilities. He also takes notes from his mentor, Warren Buffett. He's always trying to become a better leader and doesn't just settle for what he is now. He's also trying to continually improve his own business. He didn't just design Microsoft and then stop. As we all know, Microsoft is an ever-changing and improving software. Even while continuing to develop himself and his business, he also takes time to invest in others. He and his wife, Melinda, founded The Giving Pledge, an organization in which wealthy people of our nation give large sums of their money to help those less fortunate than them. Even though he spends much of his time improving himself and his business, he still takes a lot of his time to improve the lives of others who are less fortunate than him. And this causes people to want to follow him. One way that I want to try and be like Bill Gates is to learn how to improve myself and want to continually do that. I want to improve my leadership skills for myself, but also for my siblings, the kids I teach, and the dancers I lead. Finally, I looked into some of the biggest leaders in my life, teachers. To analyze the characteristics that made teachers easy to follow, I took a survey of students at our school, and they said that teachers who were loving, compassionate, and funny were much better teachers than teachers who were scary and intimidating. I also asked Ms. Ferb, a math teacher here at JA, what she believed the relationship between students and teachers should be. She said there needed to be a positive relationship filled with respect, and that it needed to go both ways between the teacher and the student. Now, teachers have a little bit of a different relationship and a little bit different of a leadership position because they don't need someone to scare them into doing their homework and coming to school. I mean, maybe a little bit, but that's why we have parents. They need someone that they can trust and they can confide in. They need someone they can look up to and that can help to teach them how to be a leader by showing by example. I want to learn how to be an approachable leader like teachers. I want others to want to talk to me and want to follow me. And by being loving and compassionate, I believe I'm able to accomplish this. After looking into so many types of leaders, I had a better grasp of what it takes to be a great leader. And while Machiavelli had a good point at saying it was better to be feared and safer to be feared, I've made my own opinions on this. I believe that a good leader must be able to be open to others' opinions, passionate in what they do, and make themselves approachable. I've made my decision on the kind of leader I'm working to be. But what kind of leader will you choose to be? Thank you.